that's the part of like the service part that I enjoy as much as I like the making of is the servant part. I think that, I can use what was meant for ill, I can make it for good. I think God has given me that ability to be able to still play for that purpose. Yeah, I think that's very important.
This is Sheila's Take, a podcast where you can hear my take on everything: love, hate, relationships, family, and today's issues with a godly perspective. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Sheila's Take. Today, I have a very special guest, Andrew Cloninger. He's joining us. He was born in northern Michigan and raised in upstate New York. Andrew's journey through music and writing has truly been remarkable. From his early days as a page turner for his pianist grandmother to founding a music festival in college, Andrew's passion for music and sound has been unwavering. Despite facing significant challenges, including a debilitating neck injury, Andrew's perseverance and dedication to his craft have led him to remarkable achievements. This is a conversation you will not want to miss. Join me as I welcome Andrew to Sheila's Take. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you for having me, Sheila. This is going to be great. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to grace my little podcast.
It's all good. It's all good.
Let's jump right into it. You are a multi-discipline artist, right?
Yeah.
How do you navigate between being a musician, a producer, and a writer? and how do these different creative outlets complement each other in your work?
Well, it's interesting because they all go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started writing like with intent when I was like 6th grade. And I've always been around music. I come from a musical family.
Mm-hmm.
I started writing, and then as I got older, I got my first guitar when I was like 16.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I learned 3 chords and I joined a band. That's like how serious, like that's how like into it I've always been. I was lucky. My older cousin, his name is John Churchville. He's a great drummer. He kind of like showed me the ropes as far as like he didn't like sit me down and talk to me or anything, but he just by example, he was, this is, you play in bands, you do shows, you do, you practice, like that kind of thing. And I had a great music teacher in junior high as well, that kind of showed me some things and was really inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I, like you said, I hung out with my grandmother. She was a great, kind of like, she'd play like the like gospel style piano and stuff like that. So I was really into listening to that, and I'd sat right by her and she'd kick me and I'd turn the page and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, but as far as, I started writing songs seriously like when I joined that band when I was like 16. And so that was kind of the basis. I mean, I've had like when I went to college and stuff, I did take
Mm-hmm.
some poetry classes and that kind of thing, but it's always been in me. Like it's always been kind of there. And then I didn't start producing stuff until I was in college,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
in that kind of thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that like, I would say like, you know, you put your 10,000 hours in. I think that's the main, uh, that's kind of that's always been my kind of, work ethic is important. I think that's the
Oh,
biggest thing,
definitely.
because I didn't go to college for music and I didn't go to college for writing. I went for audio production.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so the
Wow.
producing and the audio production is actually kind of went hand in hand. But as far as like the music and the writing, um those have been on the job training, as they
Mm-hmm.
say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how that's worked. And it's interesting too, because there's a lot of different avenues. I've encountered a lot of different musicians in my career. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them, So, I mean, there's some that have gone to conservatory and stuff like that, and there's something to be said about those guys. They're amazing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
amazing musicians. They're killers, all of them. But there is something to be said about the individuality of people that have like their own idiosyncratic way of playing, and that's kind of
Mhm.
where I come from. Is like, not like you listen to like James Brown's band, like
Yeah.
there
Yes.
is something about the way that those guys play together,
Yeah.
like, and I'm pretty sure that none of them went to music school. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure,
Yeah.
and like same thing with like, uh, the Stax band or like any, they probably, most of them probably were raised in the church and maybe played jazz or blues or something like that.
You talking
And
old school right there.
oh yeah, I love Al Green. I love all
Yeah.
that. And that's the other thing too, is like you have to listen to everything,
Yeah.
like everything. And I think that's really helped me in, because I listen to everything. Listen to current stuff too,
Hmm.
but I find a lot of inspiration from a lot of the older stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm just as much into the Beatles as I am into Stax, as I
Hmm.
am
Yeah.
into, Muscle Shoals, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Jazz, I love jazz. I love classical music. There's a lot to be said about, finding all the things, because I don't love, I don't love every single jazz thing that
Yeah.
ever came out. Like,
Right.
let's
Right.
be honest, some of it's a little boring,
Hmm.
but there's stuff that moves me, like I'm a big Thelonious Monk guy.
Oh,
I
okay.
love it,
Wow. Okay.
but I love Keith Jarrett.
Mhm.
I love Coltrane. I love some of that. I'm not so much into like Lena Horne, and
Okay.
that's okay,
Charlie
because
Parker. Charlie Parker.
yeah, I dig some
Yeah.
try. He's not like I said, like I like the Rashawn Roland Kirk. He's a
Hmm.
guy that I love,
Okay.
and that kind of, like Ahmad Jamal is another guy I
Mhm.
like, and
Okay.
McCoy Tyner, that kind of stuff. And yeah, Parker is good. It doesn't move me as much as some of these other guys,
Okay.
and that's everybody. I'm sure,
Right.
like I like Bjork, but I'm sure a lot of people don't love Bjork,
Yeah.
like, or like that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
interesting.
Can you tell me about your band, Cove?
Yeah, Renn Cove.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of music do
That's
you
my
play?
latest
Uh-huh.
band. Yes. It's an instrumental band.
Okay.
We play improvisational music. So what we do is we we sit for our show, we sit down and we just start to play. It's a cello and myself, and
Mhm.
and so the cellist, her name is Melissa Davies. She's absolutely amazing. She's
Okay.
one of the top notch. She's got one of the greatest ears I've ever encountered. She's amazing. So what we do is a lot of times, like I'll pick a key on my guitar.
Mhm.
I'll like say the key of F, just for simplicity. I'll start playing in the key of F with the different groove. She'll pick up on it, and then she's got a device called a looper that loops what she's playing, and then she'll put another loop on top of it so she fills out the sound. And then I have different guitar pedal effects as well, and so we'll make a really big kind of like, it's almost like an orchestra type thing.
And this is
And
live?
it
You do this
Yeah,
live?
live. Yep, live. Absolutely. Yep. And so then we play a whole show like that. We'll play 2 hours like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
interesting.
different, and it's a lot of people say it's very, because we play at like lounges and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and a lot of people say it's very peaceful and it's very atmospheric and it's
Okay.
easy for people to talk and to, because I play acoustic guitar at these things, and she plays acoustic cello,
Okay.
obviously, and so it's easier for people to like it's good music, but it's also like not in your face, because
Right.
and I think a lot of people really like it because it's not, it's interesting, but it's not like screaming at you volume wise, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Okay.
So it helps people get into whatever they're doing, at the place.
Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So, you have an upcoming book called C6C7,
Yes.
and it
Yeah.
explores the themes of.
Actually, it's out
Oh,
now.
okay. Right.
Yeah, it came out in October.
Okay.
And it's a it's a haiku book, and it's kind of a narrative memoir, because I was kind of processing my injury. I
Mhm.
had a bulging disc in my neck. It's in the C6 C7
Mhm.
area, and what happened was I was chopping wood at my uncle's camp, and it popped, and it pinched the nerve in my left that goes down my left arm,
Mhm.
which left me with some nerve damage and some chronic pain and that kind of thing. And so, like, you know I couldn't even play at the time. I couldn't even play guitar. I couldn't do music
Wow.
or anything like that, and I thought it was over. i
Yeah.
thought i thought everything was done, and so I was like, okay, God, I'm in your hands now. you
Mhm.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
like, there's nothing I can do, and thank God, through some hard work and prayer and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, that God gave it back to me.
Good. Good.
And so, and since then, I pretty much was like, I feel like I'm on borrowed time in some ways, like working on, you know like, it's almost like God's like, okay, I want you to redeem the time,
Mhm.
and that kind of thing, like. And so, we're actually, Renn Cove is going back into the studio in January, which is pretty
Mhm.
exciting. And we're also, so we're starting to build up again and do that kind of thing. And so it's pretty exciting to do that,
Okay.
and all that. But also too, I'm working on a second book as well. And it's like, okay, so if, you know, the other thing too is uh I've always been kind of a bivocational musician, which means I've always had to have a day job, because a lot of times, it's hard to support yourself as a
Mhm.
full-time musician, unless you're in the tippity
Word.
top, unless you're
Word.
Beyonce. I mean, yeah, we're not all Beyonce or Taylor Swift or any of those, so,
Right.
but the thing is, though, and that's part of what, because I've always worked in like warehouses and that type of thing. So that kind of, um, that probably helped exasperate the my physical
Mhm.
conditions.
Yeah.
But but also too, I kind of got off the road so that I could raise my son
Mhm.
and be a good father and that kind of thing, and you know and have like a stable income and that kind of
Right.
thing. And
Right.
so I had been, other than playing in church occasionally, I hadn't
Mhm.
really been playing a lot. And after I got hurt, I pretty much was like, I need to dedicate my time to what God has given me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was very important to me to start, and so basically I just went on a leap of faith, because it was like I didn't know if I could make a record again. Like, I had no idea.
Mhm.
So I booked some time in the studio, and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to play some instruments. I'm going to see. And also, part of the my some of my physical stuff, I have Bell's palsy, which affects
Oh
my
yeah.
singing
Yeah.
ability. And so I was like, I'm not gonna sing. I'm just gonna play some like instrumental music, and
Mhm.
just kind of do that kind of thing. And in a low pressure situation, I thought it was just gonna be me.
Yeah.
And the engineer, he knew Melissa, and so he was like, hey man, I think it'd be great to have cello on this. And I was like,
Mhm.
absolutely. I mean, never say no to cello player. I mean,
Right.
that's kind of been a rule for me. So she played on it, and she kind of made an like an off comment, like, hey, if you have any more work, or if you want to play or whatever, give me a call. And she gave me her email, and I was like, oh, you don't have to tell me twice. This must be
Mhm.
God. So I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I emailed her, and we kind of, like, I set up a few dates and that kind of thing, and it's been going really well. And it's definitely been a God ordained, and a God ordained thing. And so we're really, really happy about what's been going on, and the growth, and the, and all that kind of stuff. So
Good, good. Now you are someone who has overcome adversity and adapted to changes in your life. What advice do you have for others who are facing similar challenges, both creatively and personally?
I mean, every individual is different.
Hmm.
But I think for me, I think it's never give up. I think
Yeah,
that's the one thing, and also prayer is huge, and having a great support system behind you. I mean,
definitely.
my
Yeah.
wife is the best. I have the best wife. I have the best son. Like for me, it's really been my support system that's really helped me
Hmm.
through this whole thing. Like, she was the one that was like, go into the studio, do it. And I
Yeah.
was like, are you sure? Is this gonna be
Mhm.
okay? And she's like, go do it. Do
Yeah.
it. And same with the writing. It's interesting because with the writing, I was like, maybe I'll just self-publish it and like put it on Amazon and
Hmm.
and just call it good, and like I got it off my chest. It's all good.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like, no, go submit that thing. It's powerful. Go submit it. And I'm like,
Right.
all right. So I did, and I got a few rejections and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But then Atmosphere Press picked it up, and I was like, okay, that's God, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's the thing. Like when you hit creativity, I think I'm not a person that believes in writer's block, or I don't believe in like creativity blocks. I don't think that's real. I
Hmm.
think
Yeah.
I think what happens is you have to, like, I think there's time for rest, and I think that there's time to do. And I
Hmm.
think I think sometimes we try to work too much, and it causes us to blank almost, because we're so exhausted, or we're using our brains too much or whatever. And I believe in rest. I believe that we should be able to, I don't know, I feel like when God created the world, he rested.
He rested after 7 days. That's right.
And so it's almost like, for me, okay, if God can rest after he did all this
Mhm.
super complex stuff,
Yeah.
I think I can rest after playing, after writing a poem, or I can or a book or whatever, a chapter or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
I think we try to push too hard, I think sometimes. Yeah, I think it's an American mindset.
Well,
Like,
it's always, we're always trying to, okay, what's the next thing?
yeah,
What's the next thing?
yep,
Okay, well, I wrote this, I sang this, or I did this. So now I got to do something better to top that. And
yeah,
you're right. Sometimes you need a rest,
yeah,
you need um, to regroup with me with same thing with this podcast.
sure,
I did my first season and I started in April and I did my first season and I stopped
right,
and I took a break and
yeah,
like okay now it's time to come back and that's what it is you can't constantly I think that's how you are creative because God gives you that also he gives
right,
when you're resting he gives you the direction and what you need to
yeah.
do next so sometimes you need that silence I call it the silence
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know
I 100% agree with that. And it's interesting too, because for me, God gave me two records
mm-hmm.
in a row. Like, and it's like, after you get those two done, you're gonna rest.
Right,
Like, and so anything else that you do, that's kind of on you. But these
right,
two you need to get done. and,
exactly.
and so and that's kind of what we're doing right now, is gearing up to go. I have some like side things that I do,
Mhm.
like I just did a song for an animation short and that kind of thing. But it was like a one-off type situation. But as far as like, a big artistic statement, um the first Renn Cove record, Trees, was one. And then this our next one, which is entitled Movement, which we're gonna go do
Mm-hmm.
in January is called Movement, which is kind of based on based on my injuries and working on, kind of working through that with instrumental music. And so that'll be a very interesting thing. What we're gonna do is I have this old drum machine that I got from a I got it from a like an estate sale. It's like
Okay.
one of those old
Yeah.
uh play along, drum machines or whatever. You get in grandma uses them for organs, oh so we're gonna do that. We're gonna manipulate it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what it has is it has a lot of the traditional rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like foxtrot and waltz and
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is
rumba
it. Yeah,
and
that's
like
definitely,
some
yeah.
of these like different very traditional movements
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so we're going to take those and then we're going to manipulate them the way that we do, and then we're going to play them. And then I'm going to use the drum machines, but I'm also going to get some real live drummers too, and then we're going to put all that together. And then I'm going to play guitar and piano and bass and
Mm-hmm.
synthesizer and all that stuff over it, and then we're going to have cello go over the top of that. So it's like this kind of a big, it's almost like in some ways it's kind of like a classical movement in some ways. Like we'll have
Mm-hmm.
like the first part, the second part, and the third part kind of situation. And then on top of that, what we're going to do is for the CD releases, we're going to try to get a dance company that does like all-inclusive dance. So somebody that has kids with disabilities and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And then up the road from us, there's an arts school that teaches, like painting and dance and
Mm-hmm.
music to kids with disabilities, and we're going to try to do like a benefit for them.
Oh, that's nice. That's
So yeah, so I think that's the part of like the service part that I enjoy as much as I like the making of is the servant part. I
yeah,
think I think that I can use what was meant for ill, I can make it for good. And I
exactly.
think God has given me that ability to be able to still play for that purpose.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think I think that yeah, I think that's very important.
Now, let's talk about your approach to wellness. How has it played a role in your creative journey? How do
Oh,
you
it's
how do
yeah.
you like prioritize self-care while pursuing a career in music and writing?
Well, it's interesting because of the nature of some of my injuries, and also too, I haven't really touched on this a lot, but I was hanging around like 325,
Really? Wow.
and I got up to as high as 420,
Really?
and yeah,
Wow.
and that was pretty much throughout my 30s. I was pretty much like in the threes for 300s for pretty much all my 30s. I'm 43 now, just for
Hmm.
everybody, just so everybody knows.
Wow.
But so my biggest thing was I didn't want to do the lap band surgeries, and I didn't want to do the gastronal surgeries because I think those are terrible. I don't think God designed us to do that. I
Hmm.
think it's not a good idea.
Okay.
God designed us in a certain way on purpose. Um, so when I got hurt, I was like, I need to do everything. Like I need to lose weight because that'll
Hmm.
help with the inflammation. I was pre-diabetic. I was
Yeah.
pre everything. I was ready to, you know, I don't know. It was not a good situation.
Yeah, that injury could have been a eye-opening,
Yeah, it was a big wake up call
yeah,
for
wake-up
me. Yeah.
call.
Oh, for sure. Because when it happened, I was 38,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, okay, pretty much you're in trouble,
Hmm.
and so the, but I think the biggest thing, is one step at a time. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that because I dealt with the neck injury
Mm-hmm.
first. And so, obviously we tried PT and OT and all that stuff to try to slip it back into place. We tried steroids. There was a lot of things that we tried to do. And that's actually what caused my weight gain to go back way up was the steroid use.
Steroids, yeah.
I went up to, I mean, it was like overnight. It was like 2 weeks and I was like 420 and I was like, oh, this isn't good. I was bad enough as it was. I didn't need to be up there.
Wow.
Like it was so bad, like this, like my scale at home wasn't even working. It was really
Wow.
bad. I was like, okay, I need to fix that, obviously, but also, and I like to give a caveat to all this too, is like what works for me doesn't always work for everyone else. Everybody has their own makeup and their own chemistry and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But what worked for me was the keto diet.
Mm-hmm.
I found out about it, and so I did some research and I was like, I wonder if my body, would react favorably to that, because I've
Hmm.
tried everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I tried Weight Watchers, I've tried, cardio, like tons of cardio, and
Yeah.
like I've tried everything. I was an athlete in high school. I was a soccer player, so it wasn't like I was like
It wasn't like you weren't
lazy,
active.
like I
Yeah.
was active.
Yeah.
I hunt, I hunt. I did, I was, my day job was an active day job,
Hmm.
but the biggest thing was the input. I think, eating the wrong things for my
Yes.
body was one of the
Yeah.
biggest things for me.
Yeah.
And so once I had a good grip, and I have to say this also too, is I look for professional help as well, because there's doctors out there that will help, especially with people that are morbidly or obese.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's very important to be under a doctor's care. Get your vitals taken,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to lose a lot of weight, and get your blood drawn and that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
just to see what's going on internally. And so what happened? So it took about 3 years. And I went from 420 to 200 pounds. And then recently, like within the last year, I've been like 194.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so I've been kind of staying stable,
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
But it's persistence. It's
Mhm.
it's definitely, and this time of year is the worst.
I know. Listen. I have been, that was one of the things that I did too. I've been on my own. I've been saying this for a lot of my podcasts, but I have been on my own wellness self-care journey.
Yeah.
You talk about weight. I was at 230.
Woo!
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
I lost about 60, almost 65, 60
Congrats.
pounds,
That's awesome.
and and it's like you said, it's what works for me may not work for everyone else, but
Right.
it's a mindset. I was diabetic, taking all med types of stuff,
Oh yeah.
but it's the food. I changed what I ate. I worked out. I started working out.
Yep.
I feel like I'm in the best health shape of my life right now,
And
and
that's how I feel too, because I
yeah.
mean, I was I was a soccer player in high school. So I was 200 pounds because
Yeah.
I was working out every day,
Hmm.
I was doing squat, doing all the weight work and all that stuff. So I was a solid 200 pounds.
Right.
And
Yeah. Wow.
so I was like, okay, so that's what I thought was a good goal weight for
Yeah.
me. And the other thing too, I'd like, to say too, is like, between the genders too, there's a big discrepancy between how men lose weight and women
Women.
lose
Yeah.
weight too. So I would never disparage a woman. Like she goes, oh, I lost 20 pounds or something like that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
do it. Like if you lose 5 pounds, you're doing it.
You do. That's
Like,
right.
and I don't understand why people fat shame people that you know just because you only lost 5 pounds in 2 months, you still lost it.
Exactly.
Like you're still winning.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's very discouraging, especially for someone that's already kind of in a vulnerable situation.
Hmm.
They're already telling you something that's very personal. and
Yeah.
and it's like, I'm not saying that like, you know when I was that when I was when I was way overweight like that, like I knew I was fat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I already knew that. And I didn't necessarily need someone to point it out, but sometimes you
Exactly.
need to have that frank talk with someone too. Like, hey man, you're way over.
Yeah.
And you need to, you know, like and when people are honest with you, sometimes that helps too.
Yeah.
But also, you know, you're usually your own worst critic anyway. So, and that
Exactly.
goes with creativity, that goes with you know, wellness, that goes with
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize, you know, and it's not just like, oh, just put down the candy bar and you know, let's figure this out. You know, it's not
It's
like that.
not. No, it's not. It's definitely isn't.
And you
Yeah.
know, I found for myself too, I was doing a lot of emotional eating,
Yeah.
which is the thing, you know, instead of, you know, I didn't take drugs, you know, or do drugs to do stuff. I would eat.
Yeah.
And that's just and that's, you know, that's just as bad, you know. And so, you know, one of the biggest things for me is taking inventory every day of what I'm eating, being conscious of what I'm eating, you know, because
Exactly. Yeah.
it's easy to go through a day and blow, you know, 100 2,000 calories. I mean, that's
Mhm.
easy.
Yeah.
Like I could do that all day long, twice on Sunday, and then
Mhm.
you know, 4,000 I could do easy too if I wanted to.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so I think it's important. I think it's important too, like to you know, be sympathetic. I think for a lot of people, I think a lot of people end up someplace where they didn't intend to, but at the same time, I think we still need to. I still think that there's some tough love that needs to be. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't think you should just be like, oh, you're beautiful. You know, like I'm a little bit against that,
Yeah.
but I'm also for do it with love.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I
Right.
think
Right.
that's important. I think having honest discussions are very important, I think.
I mean, if you are, it's more like I forgot what her name is. Like there's a singer now. But she's like you know I feel good in my skin. Okay, as long as you're healthy and you
Yeah.
know fine.
Yeah.
But when it gets to a point
Yeah.
where you're not unhealthy and you're you know you're trying to walk up a flight of stairs and you're about to you know you feel like you're
Oh
about to have
yeah.
a heart attack and you know
Yeah.
you're taking you know this and that for health reasons, then that's you know that's different. But
Yeah.
you know, but
Oh yeah.
yeah. Let me ask you this:
Sure.
how does your faith influence your artistry and your creative process?
Oh, I'd say it has everything to do with it. I would say that because my faith is so entwined with everything that I do,
Hmm.
I feel like it's an extension of my faith. Like I think you know, I believe that God works through us.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
I think that if I'm a child of God, then by extension you know, I'm using my artistry for him,
Hmm.
you know, to, you know, and I think there's a lot of misnomers, I think, sometimes about what is Christian and what isn't. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I think that's kind of it's always been kind of a sticky situation because I
Hmm.
think that there's a lot of, you know, I mentioned Al Green, you know, like, you know, he felt like he needed like, you know,
Yeah.
he was singing some songs that
Yeah.
were unbelievable,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and like, let's stay together. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time you heard like a
Yeah.
positive song? Like that's an unbelievable, like, especially R&B, like a lot of it's like breakup stuff or
Exactly.
like you done me wrong or
Mhm.
like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like he's like, let's stay together. Let's
Stay together.
weather it. Let's
Right.
do this. You
Hmm.
know, and it's like, whoa. And I'm sure there's other, you know, but
Yeah.
that's just like for me, that's like one of the most famous you know, of all time songs. And like, you know, I feel like for me, um, you know, if I'm doing it, then I'm doing it unto the Lord, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that you know, whether I do it in church or not, sometimes I feel like that's not part of the you know, where it says in Acts where it's like go into all the world and preach the gospel.
Hmm.
Well, what is the gospel? That is us, because
Yeah.
we're all fallen short.
Hmm.
We've all fallen short of the glory of God. So therefore, you know, me being a light in wherever I am is the most important thing,
That's right.
because I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation about God in a bar after a set, like it's amazing, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hilarious, and then you have a lot of people, condemning you for it, and
But
and it's very interesting.
but you have to realize too, where did Jesus do most of his work?
He went and hung out with Zacchaeus, man.
So come on, you know.
you know I always like to say Jesus partied.
Well, he did change water into wine.
I'm just saying. It's in there. I'm a literalist.
Look, I know you mentioned that you have a new book. Are there any upcoming projects or collaborations that you're particularly excited about and
Oh
you want
man.
to share with
So
us?
yeah, it's still kind of in the so there was a record that I made 15 years ago,
Wow, okay.
and it didn't go well. And so I am in the process of re-recording the whole thing.
Hmm. Okay.
And so some of the original players are going to be on it, but mainly it's going to be myself and like a few people that I really want on it, and I'm really excited about it because it'll be kind of like it's one of my original solo works, bands.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so with that band I made three records, and this will be the fourth, and so it'll just be kind of like it'll be closure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so that's kind of, I feel like that it's kind of like a legacy thing for me. It's kind of like a thing that I feel like I'm being led to make. I've always kind of wanted to redo it, but I just didn't have because there was so much bad vibes with that whole last thing that it was like
Hmm.
it just didn't work out very well, and I was pretty heartbroken about it. So like I just wanted to redo it, and like I said, redeem the time and get it done correctly the way that it should have been done in the first place. And so I'm really excited about that. So I've started some work on it, and
Okay.
so yeah, it'll be a very interesting thing. I get to play with my best friend, which is super amazing. He's a saxophonist. When actually he does all the windwards, but he lives in New York City, so he'll be coming in and out over the
Mhm.
next couple years, like when he's upstate, because I live in upstate New York. Um so when he's upstate, I'll be able to call him in. He'll be able to lay
Oh,
down some tracks and stuff, which is pretty exciting. I get to work with him again, which is amazing.
good.
He's yeah, it's that's probably for me, that's probably the most exciting part about
Exciting.
it, is I get to
Hmm.
work with my best friend, which is really
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
But but I think the thing too is being able to put that statement down the way that I intended it to be done, I think is the big deal. So that'll
Oh,
be fun.
okay. What do you hope your audiences and readers take away from your work, whether it's through your music or your books?
I feel like I think the big takeaway I feel like is there's hope. No matter what circumstance you find yourself in, there's always
Hmm.
hope. There's always a light. And I feel
Yeah.
like, whenever, because we see through the glass darkly, it's or dimly, depending on your
Hmm.
translation.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I want my art to, point to hope, to peace, um, because those are things that I strive for. Those are things that
Yeah.
I'm working on.
Okay.
And so if someone can see the progress in me, I want it to be shown through my art as well.
Okay. Last question. What are you grateful for?
Oh, there's so much to be thankful for. My family's huge. My wife, my son,
Hmm.
um, my band. That's been a source of gratitude for sure. My friends, I you know the house that we live in, like, I mean, it's all good. Like,
So good.
God's blessed us beyond measure, and I can't be more thankful. I mean, it's not always easy,
Mm-hmm.
but and I don't think that this life is intended to be easy, but that doesn't
No,
mean
it's
that I
not.
can't find grace and I
That's
can't
right.
find great, gratitude. That's for sure.
That's right. Well, I thank you, Andrew. Let my listeners know where they can get your book.
Sure.
Um, you have a website. Please make sure
Yes. Yeah.
let us know what your website is.
So you can check out andrewcloninger.com, which has a link to my book and my music. And you can also check out my band at renncovemusic.com. And that has like our shows and links to where you can buy our music, and also you can link, you can have a link to, I'm not sure if there's a link to the book on that, but there's a link on andrewcloninger.com for sure.
Perfect. Well, I thank you, Andrew, for
Thank you
being.
for having me. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you for coming. I appreciate you for showing up and being a guest on Sheila's Take. And I wish you well, and I wanna hear that record when it comes out that you're re-recording.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And
Yeah, we'll be
definitely keep
posting
me
it for sure.
posted. Let me know when it's out.
Oh,
And
will
I
do.
thank you. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blast. Thank you.
Thank you. Join me next time where I will continue to discuss more of today's issues. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Blessings to you.